Welcome to the Big Biz Show, featuring insight, analysis, and a lot of stuff that's none of your business.
Hold on. This is the Big Biz Show. I think it is their business.
Making the markets work for you. Here's the man with the plan, Sully.
I'm not sure we should keep that in it. Live from the Loft 100 studios in sunny San Diego, California. Big Biz Show's on the air. Great to have you along today. Sully, Costa, and the Day Trader Quattro boys. Great to see you today.
The Claw.
Wow. Monsters of Rock. There you go. Was that you walking out of the
that was
shop with a shirt that wouldn't quite go together?
The sausage with legs. That was that was me. That was me.
The Greek god Mediocritus. Faticus.
Fatasimus.
Hey, first of all, great to see you. We have a big show today, and of course a number of great shows this week. But this company who we interview quite a bit, and we've depended on this person for sort of frontline news on how COVID and the COVID vaccinations are going, and the problem with how we have sort of tried to wrangle the pandemic, which is now endemic, but it still keeps on coming up in the news. I mean, it's the thing that wouldn't go away. Was it like that with the Spanish flu? Remember the Spanish flu? No, we were all dead. We were not here yet.
Yeah.
I guess we weren't dead.
You got it.
Not
You
alive
died.
yet.
That's basically
But
it.
Spanish flu was like the pandemic. Okay. Mm-hmm. I wonder if after the Spanish flu, Spanish flu goes away, but then, there's a variant of the Spanish flu. Is that what we're still taking vaccines for? Because think about that. Spanish flu is the big pandemic.
Right.
And now we are still getting a flu vaccine every year. I wonder if, so it never went away. It's just, right? Yeah. We were getting flu shots since we were born, right?
Yeah, now it's just the niche flu.
So now the pandemic hits for COVID. Yeah. And now we're getting vaccines. And now we're getting more frequent vaccines. What are you on, Mark? Number 4?
5.
You're on 5, so I'm number 4. What about you, James?
Wow, 4.
James on number 1.
I drank it.
You haven't been sick yet, though. I mean, what's amazing about you is and the reason I ask is I think this is going to be a biannual, in other words, every 6 months, and then it's going to be an annual pretty soon. The guy to ask, of course, is David Dodd. He's our expert. He's the chairman and CEO of GeoVax Labs. Their stock symbol GOVX, and if you've been paying attention to this company of late, it's been a really interesting and a wild ride to the good side for David. And David, I got to commend you. Congratulations on the recent success of what's going on there, man. You told us this was going to happen, and it happened, and you're marching the ball down the field there. So congratulations, sir.
There he is.
There he is. Okay. Hey, David, are we to the point now? Let's talk top down. Overall, are we to the point now where we are at the sort of flu vaccine sort of behavior that we're going to have to go through the same with a COVID vaccine every year, in your opinion?
For the broad population, the answer is yes. For the population of individuals who are dealing with compromised immune systems, and that includes people with lupus. A report just came out today that talked about individuals that suffer from lupus. They take immunosuppressive drugs. And unfortunately, those immunosuppressive drugs lessen their ability to mount an antibody response, which means they do not respond to current authorized vaccines. So they fall into that same group of people who have certain immunocompromised conditions. And those are the ones that I continue to discuss for 2 reasons. One is because there are 10 to 20 million of those people in the United States, and the current vaccines are inadequate. So there's a major medical critical need for those individuals. And secondly, at GeoVax, we specifically have a vaccine in clinical trials in phase 2 that is specifically being developed to be utilized for people with compromised immune systems or people that suffer from lupus, et cetera. And the reason why is we also incorporate the T cell or the cellular immunity response, and that's important when the antibody side of the immune system is not going to be sufficient. And that's what we're dealing with these populations. So for the majority of individuals, they probably fall into that annual sort of COVID or whatever it'll be, whichever variant will be constructed for that annual year. But there is this other population, which is not insignificant. That's a large population. 255 million or so worldwide are individuals that have compromised immune systems, or they suffer from conditions such as lupus. They're taking immunosuppressive drugs, which means that their ability to appropriately respond from a vaccine isn't going to be there. So they're at risk. And as we talked last time, Evishield, now that CDC has withdrawn the recommendations, so that was a bust for these individuals. People used to say, oh, they're immunocompromised, we'll give them Evishield. Well, it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. What is exciting, though, is when we talk about Zika and we talk about monkeypox and such. Talk about that, because there's some good news on the GeoVax front there.
Well, a couple of things. We recently acquired the rights from the NIH for the vaccine basis, which is it's 3 letters, MVA. MVA is the basis of most of our vaccines. And that is the vaccine in and of itself that is currently approved by the FDA and stockpiled for prevention against both smallpox as well as monkeypox. And we've been given the right through this license that we signed with the NIH to be able to develop that all the way through commercialization and distribution. What's very interesting about that is our COVID-19 vaccines and our other vaccines for infectious diseases, it could be, for instance, for Ebola, they all are built on the basis of MVA, which means they also prevent not only against, for instance, COVID-19, if we demonstrate that successfully, they will also prevent against monkeypox and smallpox. So in certain areas of the world, for instance, Brazil, it's endemic. You have monkeypox. And you also have a big problem with COVID-19. One vaccine that protects for both conditions.
David, the president or the White House announced in the last 48 hours that sometime in May, he's going to declare something about COVID. Is it we're out of the woods, we're looking good, you don't have to wear a mask anymore? What's the White House going to lay on us in May?
What they have said is that they will be announcing, I think it's May the 11th, if I'm not mistaken, that the public health emergency no longer exists. What the implication of that is that the emergency use authorization for products such as Evishield and others that had come out, vaccines as well as therapies, will no longer be able to be approved under an EUA. However, for certain populations, again, going back to these populations who have compromised immune systems, who deal with lupus, et cetera, they may still be candidates for that. By and large, it won't change what we're doing on a daily basis. There may be in certain localities, the dropping of certain mandates, et cetera, but that's been occurring anyway.
Hey, David, let's talk about the fact that when you talk about industry standards or recognizable by regulatory authorities, it's pretty interesting to note that the technologies utilized by GeoVax are all well established. And I think that's important because I think there's a lot of fear with vaccinations because of how fast they were developed. And I think one misnomer was that they rushed to the front of the line with their data, but actually they just skipped to the front of the line because there was a national emergency. But I want to kind of drive that point home, that the technologies utilized by GeoVax are well established and are recognized by the regulatory authorities. And I think that's a critical piece of information for validated safety. Am I correct?
That is correct. In fact, the basis of our COVID-19 vaccine, this virus called MVA, is already an authorized or FDA-approved vaccine. As I mentioned, it's for the smallpox, it's for monkeypox. We were actually given an exemption by the FDA to not have to complete some of the traditional animal toxicology work that is required of vaccines typically, and that's because FDA is so well recognized as being safe. It's been around in hundreds of thousands of individuals. And so from that standpoint, we do have, we've taken basically, and we have somewhat of an advantage of utilizing a platform that is well recognized by regulatory authorities worldwide. mRNA had never been in humans before until these vaccines. I'm not trying to denigrate mRNA. I think there are some significant benefits there, but there are various side effects that are cropping up that normally would have been identified probably in the clinical trials and as it was rolled out. But basically, we did a risk-benefit and felt that we needed to get vaccines out as fast as possible to try and stop what appeared to be an uncontrollable threat.
David Dodd, once again, our authority, smartest guy in the room. Got to get you back in town, pal. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. David Dodd is the chairman and CEO of GeoVax Labs. GOVX is their stock symbol. GeoVax.com. That's an X at the end there, of course. Go check them out. More Big Biz coming up.